Welcome to the Israel Now Forum webinar series. I'm Maura Schreier-Fleming, Chairman of the Israel Now Forum Speakers Committee. The Israel Now Forum is scheduled for November the 16th in Plano, Texas. We want to thank our webinar partners, Southwest Jewish Congress and Texans for a Safe Israel. Today's webinar features Cheryl Dorchinsky, founder and executive director of the Atlanta Israel Coalition, or AIC. The Atlanta Israel Coalition is a grassroots nonprofit organization. Cheryl established it in 2018 to unite the pro-Israel community in Atlanta and beyond. Under her leadership, the coalition has hosted or partnered on more than 200 Israel-related educational programs and rallies, including a multi-faith Zionist global mission to Israel, an online virtual series of tours throughout cities and sites in Israel. You can view them on YouTube under Atlanta Israel Coalition. And if you're planning on a trip to Israel, you certainly must watch these videos before you go. In recognition of her impactful work, Cheryl was awarded the Zionist Legacy Award from the World Zionist Organization in 2023. Please use the Q&A Zoom feature to submit your questions during the webinar, and we'll have time for questions. And now let's talk with Cheryl Dorchinsky and taking action for Israel. So Cheryl, let's start with what inspired you to found the Atlanta Israel Coalition, and what is its mission?
Well, first, can I thank you all for having me?
Yes.
I mean, it's wonderful being here, and thank you everyone who tuned in today. To answer your question, it was a little bit before 2018, I saw that there was a lot of hate that was spreading in some other states on college campuses. And I went to my son's college to tour. And I asked everyone, are you familiar with SJP, which is Students for Justice in Palestine, or Apartheid Week, or some of the horrific things I had seen on the other campuses? And nobody knew what I was talking about. My son was, of course, terribly embarrassed that his mom was asking weird questions. But as usual, I'm very grateful. He was a wonderful, loving son who put up with the questions. And sadly, 2 years later, he called me and said, I know what you're talking about now, Mom.
Why did he know?
He was in a group of people, and he heard about a meeting that their student council was going to do to basically get Gilly out. Gilly is the Georgia Law Enforcement Exchange Program. It's like high-level exchange of police chiefs, etc. They go to Israel to learn about terrorist, training. I mean, there's nobody better to actually teach safety than Israel. So essentially, that's what the program is. It's a partnership, and they happen to have an office in a small satellite for Georgia State. It's not even on the main campus, and they don't get any funding from the college. But yet, these students were going to gather to decide whether they should kick Gilly off campus. And my
Was
son,
SJP hosting that?
it was the usual intersectionality, as they like to call it. It was SJP, Jewish Voices of Peace, which is anything but peaceful. And I can't comment on whether they're Jewish or not. That's not my place. But they're definitely not for peace when they have their terrorists speaking at their luncheons, etc. These are actually like convicted terrorists. And a few churches, oddly enough. So this was the first that I saw the intersectionality so strong. And my son was in AEPI, and there was him and a few of his brothers, and that was it. I happened to put an email out to my friends asking everyone to show up, and a few people did, and we sat there in the very last row with them. And I listened to what we now know as the incredibly common lies and demonization and hate that these students get on campus. And I was absolutely floored.
Can you
And
give us
my
an
son,
example of what you heard? Just one of them?
oh, of course, about the apartheid and the genocide and I mean, all of this was going on way before now. Now it's just, you can't ignore it. It's everywhere. But I saw it was coming, and I saw that nobody was doing anything about it, and it was keeping me up at night. And I decided that I had to do something about it. So I was going to have a program. Um, this program I was going to invite all the students to. They were going to understand, and we'd be on the path of world peace. Well, clearly that didn't happen yet. Still working towards it. But what did happen that night was a bunch of students left saying, "Oh my gosh, my friends never told me any of this." The program was an amazing woman. If you look
What did you
on
cover in that program?
what?
What did you cover in that program? Your very first
Well,
program for AI?
I'm
Was
about
it
to get
called the
there.
Atlanta Israel Coalition then, or just was this
No,
first?
no. So basically, I had trouble finding a space. I had trouble finding, an organization that would sponsor this program. Nobody wants to sponsor this program. This woman is amazing. Like, if you look on YouTube under How to Survive a Machete Attack for Dummies, I believe that's what it was called. She did a TED talk on it. It's really her name's Kay. Her name was Kay Wilson. She's changed it since, but
What
it
was
was
your
very
program
powerful.
called? What were you calling this program that was so hard to get a place to put it?
It was just called Black Forest. It was about pay for slay, and I was told that that was gruesome, that it's political, that it's all the ridiculousness that they were able to say up until now. Because I mean, we've seen October 7th, so nobody could ignore the fact that it's gruesome and horrific. But this was like back in 2018. And I was showing it to them, and they were like, "Oh, I don't want to see." One person said, and this was the leader of an organization, "I will now have nightmares. It's keeping me up at night. I don't appreciate you sending that to me." I'm like, it's a TED talk. She gave her point of view beautifully. She lived this. You're sitting in Georgia in your beautiful home, not living this, and you're saying you're scarred. The fact that she has the courage to talk about it is nothing short of amazing.
Do you know which group attacked her? Was it Hamas? Was it Hezbollah? Was it another terrorist organization?
It was pay for slay. So basically, they were the PA, or
Either the Palestinian Authority, which denies that
yeah,
they
they
pay for
they
slave,
they
but they do
paid
pay for
these
slave,
monsters.
or Hamas.
Apparently, they they murdered another woman first, and the only reason they were really caught was because Kay miraculously survived being stabbed. I believe it was 16 times with a machete, and she happened to get one of them with her penknife for the DNA. Um,
So you found a place. Where did you find a place for this lecture?
so thank you for keeping us back on track, because I
No,
could
that's
talk
okay.
to you we'll go everywhere. No. I put out a post on social media. Everyone demonizes social media, but honestly, like, I found that as bad as it could be incredible. So I put out a post on social media, and a rabbi's wife saw it, and he ended up calling my husband, who of course said, "I have no idea what my wife's doing. Call her." And that's when the Atlanta Israel Coalition started. He asked me, "What do you want to call it?" And I said, "I don't want to call it anything. I have a full time executive job, like in the corporate world, and I have zero interest in starting a nonprofit." But here we are, 2025, and I lead a nonprofit of all volunteers.
So when you started the
27.
Atlanta Israel Coalition, did you reach out to either the Jewish community, the non-Jewish
I
community,
reached out to anyone who would listen.
and
And,
who was
and
the first groups to, who were the first groups to respond? Because it is a coalition. Who were the first groups to respond?
it was the Orthodox Jewish community.
Okay, so they were your first group. What is the mission for the Atlanta Israel Coalition?
Our mission is basically to spread awareness, to educate, to empower, to really allow each individual to know that you can make a difference. Like, I'm no different than you. I just, honestly, I couldn't sleep at night knowing what was going on, and I can't be silent to it. So here I am.
So
Um,
you, oh, sorry, go ahead.
we all have so much strength and so much power to make change. if we tap into it. And I guess that's what AIC is all about. I can't do this alone. I don't do it alone. Volunteers will come up with ideas, and even the tours that you saw where we took people to Israel, we did during COVID because none of us could go to Israel and it was very sad. So we wanted to be like, okay, we feel like we're in Israel. We hired a tour guide. I interviewed like 80 something people before I found someone who I knew would have a great presence on camera that would be up for doing this. Um, but we didn't do it alone. We can't do these things alone. Everybody takes a part in it, and everybody has their own superpower. And the question is, what is each of our powers? What do we love doing? Because if you love doing something and you volunteer to do it, it's for a great cause, nothing better than that.
So I want to hear more about some of this, and it sounds like very unique programs that you do. You have these online virtual tours of Israel, which, as you just said, was an idea from one of your volunteers, and then you managed to bring this project to fruition. Tell us about some of the other projects / work that the AIC does.
Well, we've done boots on the ground missions since October 7th.
Tell us
And
about one of those missions.
well, the last one, if anyone's interested, you're welcome to follow me or follow AIC on social media. We tried to do wrap ups of the day and we played videos and stuff. I mean, we go to places where, most organizations do not go and most people don't go. And the reason why is because we want to know the truth and we want to share the truth with you.
Give us an
And
example of one place.
we went to an area that would be considered a settlement.
Judea and Samaria.
I have pictures of the beautiful people I met there and the area. And, I interviewed them as to why they were there. And I showed that, like, they're not on, like, they're on barren land. It's not even, you don't see like the horrible imagery you see in the media of these violent people shouting, like chasing people off land. That's not them. Those are not the people I met. I met brave, wonderful, strong individuals who have faith in Hashem and they have faith in um, the the people that they're living with because they need each other for security too. I mean, they actually have to decide what family can go out of town now because there's so few families there. They're not safe by themselves just to leave.
And to
Um,
point out to viewers, many of those cities in Judea and Samaria have historical Jewish history, many hundreds of years of Jews being there. So it's not, if you want to call it a settlement, it's actually technically resettlement. And to your point about the shouting and everything, just recently with the Huckabee issue of a Christian church being burned, that the Pope weighed in on, turned out to be a fabrication of propaganda from Hamas. So we really have to be careful when we hear these things to question them. So
exactly.
you went to Judea and Samaria, to places that a tour guide wouldn't take you. What did you do there?
We brought toys and first aid kits and love and
Any kosher
learn.
ducks?
Oh, see, you got the kosher ducks in there. Yes, of course. We had kosher ducks on the military bases, but I was smart enough to get permission because someone told me they'd get blown up otherwise, and that would be very sad if if they took them as
Why did you
weapons.
decide on kosher ducks? What is the reason behind giving out kosher ducks? And they're all different kinds of ducks.
Yeah. So our kosher ducks are just like us. They come in all hues with all views, and they're all different kinds of Jews. And I say you don't have to be Jewish to enjoy a kosher duck, but the idea is if people can spread hate for no reason, we could spread love. And the truth is, like, there are all these different groups with ducks now, Jeep groups, cruising ducks, people are hiding ducks. I decided that we'd hide them, but they'll be kosher ducks. And it says on them, Shalom, congratulations, you found a very special kosher duck. Spread the love from the Jew crew. Keep or hide, you decide, kosher duck revolution. And it scans back to like our Facebook. But I mean, it's just like a little thing. And the amazing thing is people all over the world have been doing it. And copying the tags and playing it forward. And so now it's become like a really special thing that, we started a very small secret Facebook group, but some of the people who are doing it are posting like pictures of people who found theirs and, the excitement they're having doing it. The other day, most tourists will go to Athens, Greece, and they'll want to see historic relics. I went and spent my time at King David Burger restaurant, which, by the way, I'd highly recommend. They're a kosher Israeli-owned restaurant that was vandalized and attacked in Athens, Greece. And I gave them 2 kosher ducks and some Israeli flags and some hugs. And 2 days ago, someone sent me a picture of the kosher ducks on the shelf there in Athens, Greece.
So
So
you were recently in Athens. It's August now. You were there in July, and did you experience some of the hate?
oh, I experienced it before the hate went public, and I shared it online. A police officer told me to hide that I'm Jewish, which
In Athens, yeah.
anyone knows me is going to know that that's never going to happen. So I said, it's really interesting that we're here down the street from a Holocaust memorial, and you're telling me, the living, to hide that I'm Jewish when so many perished because they were Jewish here.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
said, okay.
So the Atlanta Israel Coalition does outreach work. You want more people to help and create awareness of the positive nature of Israel and to support Israel and to fight this anti-Semitism, anti-Zionism. Describe your outreach to various communities, whether it's Jewish, non-Jewish. What's the outreach look like?
Well, we welcome all. Like, even the kosher duck revolution, it says you don't have to be Jewish to enjoy a kosher duck.
But is it
You
social
get out.
media? How do you do it?
So I meet with people, and other volunteers meet with people, and they have great ideas, and we all get together and do things. Right now, um, we're talking to the Hindu community because unfortunately they've experienced a lot of what we've seen in Kashmir. And even the Greeks, like when I was in Athens, I only stopped on my way back from Israel because, unlike um, big organizations that have beautiful buildings and fly like, you know, direct or even somewhat direct, we are totally grassroots. So I had to stop. I went from Tel Aviv to Athens to New York to Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And we stopped in Athens. I didn't stay, it was less than 24 hours, but even there, it was like I started talking to our driver, who we happened to miraculously get through Uber, and now have his name in contact because he was very much an ally. He said, what we deal with is insane. Like, our city is being destroyed. We, personally, I've always wanted to go to Tel Aviv. I have a lot of Israeli clients, and to hear your experience is very upsetting to me. So we have a lot more allies than we know of. We just need to open up our eyes and our mouth and start talking to people. Um,
So, what would you say your biggest challenge is?
my biggest challenge is getting people to understand that we all need to take action, and we need to pay attention to when we give donations where they're actually going to. Um, there have been a lot of things coming up recently, and it's like, you know, I absolutely believe that heads of organizations should be paid. Um, but what I'm seeing, like, as far as the amounts that they're being paid in some of them and the amounts of staff, etc., it's like, ask yourself if you're getting the impact that you want with the dollars you donate. Because I know that a lot of people are giving where they've historically given, where their parents have given, some even where their grandparents have given. But the reality is, we're in this situation, and many of those orgs helped put us there. And they're not helping now. And it's really stressful for me as someone who 24/7, like, eat, breathes, lives, and sleeps this, and feels so passionate that, we partner up with other organizations I trust. Um, and then sometimes we partner up
Give us
with,
an example of one of the organizations that you partner up with.
many of them are grassroots. We'd
I
be
see.
happy to partner up with y'all. How's that?
Okay. Well, you know what? You'll get
Let
a
me know. We're in
we'll,
100%.
we'll have a
Um,
link. So So if you
Sure,
were if you
we
were to give
partnered with big organizations like the Federation, etc. But again, my my concern though is people need to start paying attention. If you look at like a great example, the Women's March. I mean, it was hijacked. It was absolutely hijacked by hate for us as Jews. We saw the same thing now. Many of my friends in the LGBTQIA community are being basically outed like from their own community with pure hate. Like and some of these organizations are getting Amnesty International. Oh my goodness, they hate us. Why would you give money to them?
So aside from looking very carefully at salaries of these other nonprofits and who actually what they're accomplishing,
Right.
what are maybe three things that an individual who wants to be an Israel advocate, what are three simple things that they can do that they could accomplish something, whether it's you don't have to finish it, but you do have to start it. So tell me three things that they could start.
They could start signing some of the petitions that go around. Like, believe it or not, I don't know that they're as impactful as, like, obviously going outside a politician's door and speaking to your local representatives, which I encourage everyone to do. But if you can't do that, simply lend your voice. Anyone could lend their voice. And even if it's not a formal petition going around, if you hear something, say something, and reach out to them because they need to hear from you. You're um, their ticket into their role.
Well, to
And
that point, everyone should know that every elected official in the United States, in our Congress, has an email that you can click on and send them a message. And you can give them, you don't even have to give them your email. You can say you don't want a response or you do want a response, but you
right,
can send a note. I support Israel and I expect you to support Israel because there's a lot of anti-Israel legislation that's floating around. So that's one
exactly.
thing they could do.
Or you could call their office. They have phone numbers too, and people who answer, especially when there's legislation out that they know um, is controversial. And honestly, I don't think anything should ever be controversial when it comes to Israel. But unfortunately, those who really do not have our best interests, CARE, JVP, even I would say J Street, all these organizations are calling and they're saying the opposite of what you and I would say and feel. Now,
Mhm.
if you're a representative and you're relying on votes for an election and you're hearing so much from one side and not enough from the other, what are you going to think?
And for
So
those
it's
who don't
up
know,
to everyone.
JVP is Jewish Voices for Peace, which, as you pointed out earlier, may not even be Jewish. So, but
Right. We don't know. And it's not my place to judge someone's Judaism or religious values. Honestly, I have just as much of a problem with anyone of any religion who behaves badly towards Jewish people in Israel. So,
when you were in Israel, did you see examples of Israelis, and like you would consider yourself an ordinary American Jew who wants to help Israel? The IDF protects militarily the Jews in Israel. Did you see examples of ordinary Jews doing things to support the IDF, other Jews? Like, what did you find?
oh my gosh, everybody's stepping up.
Like, give
Like
us an example.
on the border of Gaza, there's Shlomi's food truck and he's a
Talk about
volunteer
that.
and he has a food truck. There's a whole page called Swords of Iron on Facebook. If you want to volunteer and you don't want to join us in December, don't worry, I won't take it personal. Um, you can go to Swords of Iron, and there's tons of volunteer opportunities. And it's not all those of us like outside Israel who take those opportunities. Many of them are run and led by Israelis. So it's absolutely beautiful. J17 in Tel Aviv providing kosher meals that are vegan to soldiers who don't eat meat. Being a vegetarian, I appreciate that. Benjamin's Barbecue, where I actually did serve hamburgers. Thank you very much. That's how much I love the idea. Um, just ordinary people doing extraordinary things there too. And I'm proud to say Atlanta Israel Coalition partners with quite a few of them. And so there's no reason we can't help as individuals, even from here. Like there's so much we could do. Um, politically, like we just discussed, making your voice heard. AIC is nonpartisan and non-denominational, but we will call out anyone who goes against basic moral values, which to us is supporting Israel. I mean, you don't
So,
take away weapons for Israel during a war. We
mhm,
all know what that would lead to. So
yeah.
to me, that's someone who's lost their moral compass regardless.
So your last mission trip to Israel was a volunteer, an all volunteer. You were doing various volunteer work, handing out
Yeah.
meals, doing various things. You have another mission trip. Is that going to be all volunteer again in December?
We're trying to figure out what it looks like.
Okay.
Before October 7th, the last mission we led was all touring because, you go to Israel, you learn about Israel and you tour. But even that, like everything we do has an educational aspect. I remember we went to a school that prides itself on coexistence, and they have Muslim teachers and Jewish teachers. And when we were behind the scenes with the teachers, one of them, who was not Jewish, explained what Nakba Day is. And we had a Buddhist man from one of the other states. I
And
can't
can
remember.
you tell the group, the viewers, Nakba Day is from the
Not
Muslim group? Yeah.
Yeah, they celebrate their misery of our existence. Basically, it's when we occupied and
When Israel
all
was
these
declared
horrible things.
state, that was a horror for
Yeah,
those that
yeah.
chose to leave.
Basically, we're a catastrophe. That's what it's
Yeah.
called. So
Yes.
our existence is a catastrophe, and this wonderful Buddhist man on the tour, because again we are non-denominational, all are welcome. He came up to me and he said, "How is there supposed to be peace when, even in the school, this woman's telling us about Nakba Day, and she's saying that essentially all the Jewish people are a catastrophe."
Now, where was that school that she was saying that?
It's in Jerusalem. I'm going to leave the name out.
Okay.
But um, again, she was saying it as factual. I don't think she had any hate in her heart. I think like it was just something she grew up with. It's a matter of fact, Nakba Day. Like it's amazing to me that something so small was caught on by this man and like he got it. Like a light turned on right there. It was
But
like
no one in the class caught on and said this is
it was
not
just
right.
the teachers and the volunteers. So no, nobody in the class would. And so the volunteers didn't say anything till after I had her explain what Nakba Day was. And that's when they caught on that, okay, this woman seems lovely. And she claims that, she's all about coexistence, but she's explaining to us that every year they mourn, this catastrophe,
Also known
which,
as propaganda. Do you
right.
respond to the propaganda that comes out there? Does AIC do any of that?
Sometimes, not that often because there's so much of it, and a lot of it's bots. I wouldn't recommend people spend a tremendous amount of time doing that, simply because honestly, most of it is just lies. How do you actually respond to that garbage? Like, oh, you kill babies. No, I don't. Okay. Like it's so ridiculous.
So it sounds as if the three things that an ordinary American who wants to support Israel, they should check where they donate their money to so that it's getting an impact, ask about the results. They can educate themselves more about Israel's history and current events. And they might even go on a mission trip with you. And then they could write their elected officials or call their elected officials to let them know they support pro Israel legislation. Those are three easy things that people could do. They wouldn't have to
Very,
worry about security or anything else.
very easy things. And then you go on to, attending events or helping plan events or just sharing your thoughts. There are op-eds in every publication. You can
That
start
would be
submitting
another one. Write
your
an
thoughts
op-ed.
to it. Exactly. There's so many different things we can do from here. There's programs where they're asking volunteers to take an hour or two to teach Israeli students, let them practice English virtually. I mean, there are so many things we can each be doing. And the question is, do you want to? And if you want to, and I can help, by all means, reach out because,
How would
again,
people reach you? Other than going to Atlanta Israel Coalition Facebook page, how would they
they
reach out to you?
email me at cheryl@atlantaisrael.org.
Okay.
They could message me on Facebook. They could I mean, you could call me, but let's try the other two first,
Yeah,
please.
great. Well, Cheryl, this has been just an interesting conversation about what you do, just, as an individual, how much you have accomplished and how you can inspire other people to take action to support Israel and become an advocate for Israel. So thank you for your time. And
Oh, thank you.
I want to thank everybody for attending, and we certainly look forward to seeing you again at our next webinar on Wednesday, September the 10th at noon Central Time with Miriam Zivin, one of the founding members of the DFW chapter of MACA, which is Mothers Against College Anti-Semitism. And MACA is a nationwide nonprofit organization, and she'll speak about who MACA is and what it does. And we will see Cheryl Dorchinsky along with you at our Plano, Texas location on November 16th, where you can hear more about Cheryl's work for our all-day Israel Now Forum and more experts on Israel. The website is israelnowforum.org. Bye for now.
I had kosher ducks. Bye. Thanks.